Just you may have to invite him in, or he may have to pop in. So just keep an eye out on your Zoom screen.
Yep, I think we'll be live now, Mr. Novak.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good, good. We've got the Da Vinci Code, the Da Vinci Code of the property market in real estate, in COVID, in these times. And it goes a little bit something like this.
Nobody was able to predict it, were they? I don't think anyone would have ever imagined this change in the way we think now with what's happened with COVID.
Yep.
Talking about places specifically like the CBD, I think the world, we just wanted more and more. We were going up and up, and we were getting busier and more crowded and more densely populated. Now,
Yep.
Are we able to continue living and working like that, Mr. Novak?
Well, it appears not. And I look, it's been a real roller coaster. I think for every business, for every person, we've all evaluated essential things that are essential to our lives. And now we're starting to see the dots form in property.
Yep.
And with property, it's very, very interesting how people are acting. Money's cheap. Last night, you probably saw the news that we are in a recession. After 30 years, we have not been in a recession. It's funny because I seem to remember seeing that 3 months ago. They said 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth is a recession. So I thought we were already in it. But anyway, however you dub it, or however you label it, we are where we are. But James, you've got to admit, talking to real estate agents, looking around at property, not bad, eh?
Not bad. Like as you obviously know, Mark, I do a lot more in the commercial side of things. So
Yep.
It's taken a big hit, and it's been a big change in how we've typically gone about things. But there's certainly been an ongoing trend and a building trend of people changing the way they work and live. So it is residential as well, but an ongoing trend and a building trend.
That's me. So I guess if we're trying to work this out, and let's cut to the chase now. If anyone's trying to work out the property market, think of it like this. It's like a spiral going outwards from the CBD, or it's like a rung, like 1 rung, 2 rungs, 3 rungs, 4 rungs, 5 rungs, and 6 rungs. So let's, for argument's sake, say it's 8. There's 8 rungs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's, for argument's sake, rung number 1 is the CBD, and rung number 8 from Sydney CBD is Gold Coast.
Sure.
Okay, and I say Gold Coast because when people chase lifestyle in America, if you're a New Yorker, you go to Miami. You're chasing the sun.
Yeah.
If you're I'm not poo-pooing Melbourne, but if you're a Sydney person and you're chasing the sun, off you go to Queensland. So back to these spirals that I'm talking about, all these rungs that I'm talking about, guys and girls, what you've got to start noticing now is people are actually hopping out of your suburb for lifestyle reasons, and people are hopping into your suburb for lifestyle reasons. And it works like this. Northern beaches of Sydney, bit of a sea change or a tree change. It's a sea change, right?
Yeah.
What people are actually doing is we're a bit knocked about in one way because people are leaving the northern beaches of Sydney. And the reason for why people are leaving the northern beaches of Sydney is because they're off to Newcastle, Terrigal, they're off for a sea change. So that starts to have a negative effect on pricing because people are leaving. But the good news is, the great news is, and this is what we're seeing through COVID, we are getting the people from the North Shore, we are getting people from Mossman, St. Leonard's, the urbanites, they're actually coming into the beaches saying, you know what, we're going to improve our lifestyle, improve our family. Are you seeing that with commercial?
Yeah, certainly. And I think it all relates together, but it's big offices, corporations, people in the CBD where you might have thousands of people in one office space. That's not happening anymore. So I'm seeing increasing inquiries from big businesses and big industries that are wanting to just open up little satellite offices, little key locations, so that they can support people from their companies, there might be thousands living all across the city, as opposed to cramming everyone down into the one place. So yeah, certainly seeing a big change.
So now people are making these permanent changes. They've realized that COVID is not something that's going to disappear in a week or a month. They've realized that it's probably going to survive a lifetime of change. So even though COVID may come and go, I think the changes that it leaves behind are going to be forever. And I think if you and I think the pandemic is going to be the first and last in our lifetime, I think we'd be wrong in thinking for that. So people are making serious changes in their lives. People are trying to understand what the properties market is doing, and that's why this morning we've spoken about the roller coaster spiraling into control, because it's not out of control. Prices haven't gone down. There isn't hysteria. It's a controlled environment. It's a low interest rate environment. The government's put good insulation around its people, and people are actually saying, okay, right, let's look at what's essential. And I know I spoke about it on Monday News on Monday night, Novak News on Monday night, but it's definitely a case where people are now saying, okay, you know what? Work's going to allow me to do this. Furthermore, work's going to support me to do this. So let's get it done. A friend of mine, James, I was saying off air before, has got 10,000 employees in the firm where they work. They're a partner, quite senior, so they know what's happening. And the conversation in that company is, we've currently got 1,000 people in our building where we used to have 10,000. We can't possibly get in and out that 1,000 in lunchtime. It's logistically impossible getting only 2 people to a lift or 4 people to a lift. We've actually had to ask all our staff members if they can, just to try to bring their lunch with them. And then it's not putting stress on the building. How the hell is that building going to do 10,000 people through pandemics?
It's just not possible. As you say, if they've gone from 10,000 to 1,000, they're still probably struggling with social distancing in a space like that. So it's as you say, it's logistically impossible to do these things now. So there has to be a big change in culture. And this comes back down to lifestyle changes, businesses understanding that actually working from home is doable. You can still remain productive whilst at home.
Yep.
Where previously, that was, depends on the industry, but that wasn't the assumption. It was always the other way around. So there's this big increasing change, and that's going to continue that domino effect of industries and businesses allowing people to work from home, live where they want to live, and that will also give these people the ability to lead a nice lifestyle or improve their lifestyle from what they previously had. All depends on
and if you're a CFO or CEO in one of these companies and you're not on JobKeeper and you're as profitable as you were when prior to COVID, and your building is empty, like, the message out to your staff is keep going, enjoy. This is working. So that message is being taken by people as, okay, this is going to be permanent, and off we go. So it could well be this seed change or tree change that we've all been forced to have due to COVID. The person who I actually feel sorry for the most, just want to say this morning quickly, g'day, Stephanie Leva, g'day, Lisa Kramer, g'day, Emma, how are you? There's Kruto, there's a Serbian comment there, I hope that's not a swear word, and Craig Martin, how are you, legend, and Michelle, g'day. And any questions, you guys, or observations, please share them with us. I'd love to hear what you guys are seeing out there. But the message from today, it's just that decentralization, James, you know what I mean? It's happened, the tree change, the sea change, and people are wondering. Everyone's saying to me that the property market's going to crash. I'm getting that from a lot of people. I'm not saying it is, but they're asking me, like, what do you reckon the potential is on that? And I think if you understand what this Da Vinci Code thing that we're talking about, where people are getting out of the CBD and getting into the North Shore, or getting out of the North Shore and getting into the Northern Beaches, or getting out of the Northern Beaches and getting into Gosford, Terrigal, getting out of Gosford, Terrigal and going to Coffs Harbour or the Gold Coast. It's not a bad thing if you've got people leaving your suburb and people coming into your suburb. It is a bad thing if people are just leaving your suburb. The Sydney CBD, I think, is going to be, unfortunately, the biggest loser. And the biggest winner are going to be the people that offer sea changes or tree changes.
But it's as you say, it's not there's one winner, one loser. With the CBD, that's what I was thinking as well. That would be the most hard hit, but it's this distribution of wealth that's not going from CBD Queensland. It's going in jumps and jumps and jumps and jumps. So I think it will happen, but it's going slowly and in stages, as opposed to just everyone leaving and abandoning the city. It's not going to happen like that. It'll be a slow sort of market share, almost going slowly down in percentages.
And what is that? Yeah, I agree completely. But it raises the question: is what does it leave the CBD to do or function as? If some of its workforce, say it's 50% or 20% or 10%, I don't know what it's going to be in the end, but say that workforce is leaving, it's better for Sydney traffic, by the way. It's distributing Sydney traffic a bit better, but what's that going to leave the city to do and to offer? Because if people are chasing sea changes and tree changes, that's not going to be on offer in the CBD. It's known as a workplace. So what's it going to be known as?
Well, what's going to be the reality in a couple of years' time? Imagine down the line, if we've had our COVID 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and God knows what, we're going to have a city of skyscrapers that are going to be essentially empty. And the new one is, what was the word? Ground scrapers, Mark. Maybe it's just going to be a whole new ball game of groundscapers being occupied out of the city and skyscrapers.
Explain to me what's a ground scraper?
I would presume a ground scraper, as opposed to a skyscraper, is
you just lay it down, eh? So you take the skyscraper, lay it down on the ground, and you don't need as many. Your lifts aren't going up 30 stories. Your lifts are going up maybe 3 or 4 stories, and there's lots of them, and you can get people in and out of the building in a pandemic and comfortably. It's really going to change the world. Michael Edwards, quick comment. Let's have a look at that. Says money is cheap, but banks are tight. That is for sure. To anyone and any stimulus payment, the banks don't want to touch. So if you're on a stimulus payment, it's not a good sign as a business or a person from a bank. Now, they're not allowed to discriminate based on that, but they're allowed to discriminate based on that. Yeah, anyway, weird. Agree. CBD is going to struggle from Luke, and does it go in cycles? You know what? I reckon, Luke, I just can't see this being temporary. In my lifetime, I think it's, I just don't think this is going to be the last pandemic. I think it's always going to be in our mind. If you look at how, well, this isn't far off war, and the way war stays in the back of people's mind is pretty serious. So I think that what's happened to us here, you look at the Vietnam War, World War I, World War II, we're equally dealing with death. The pandemic was dealing with death. War is dealing with death. This is going to be held in our memories bank for a long time. So I think that people are going to act in a certain way. Yeah, it's going to be lighter in my opinion, but I don't think it's. I think the cycle it won't go back to its original position. No.
Yeah, well, this is a whole new type of cycle, and this might be slightly controversial, but it is close to war. But war is a profitable. It's profitable for nations, and at the end of the day, this is not profit. No one's profiting from this. The world is just creeping down and down and down. So at the moment, there's no gain, as opposed to always profiting. Someone's coming out better.
Look, for profit to be made, loss has to be made as well. And it may happen in a different way. So I think that in war, there's severe loss of life and property. and sometimes rights, human rights. But there's prices to pay, and that's why I always say. That's why I've been saying lately. It's been a redistribution of wealth, and wealth doesn't only mean money. It's where you can be wealthy in your health. So I don't know. I think it's certainly a big distribution, guys and girls. That's what's happening with property. We'll wrap it up. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think we're good. How about you?
Biological war, absolutely. Reading my mind, said Michelle, thank you. And China might be profiting. China's always profiting. So is America. So look, and I don't mind a bit of profiting. But yeah, interesting, guys. But our focus today, summing up all the things that we've spoken about, is that's the property spiraling into control. Really is a spiral effect, and it's spiraling outwards of Sydney CBD, and people are doing better with their lifestyles. They're making arrangements. They're on a low interest rate, and they're chasing the sea change or the tree change, but they're not aggressively changing it, like you said. They're not sort of blowing up the city and saying we're all out of here and we're never coming back. It's a small and gradual effect, that we're seeing. Some people leave our suburb, not all, and some people come to our suburb, not all. It's just small and gradual.
I'd love to know, and maybe I'll do a bit of research on this, just the prices in the CBD and see what the changes are there, residential or commercially, see if there is any significant differences from 6 months ago, because I imagine that has started, but that's supposed to be the strongest parts of the economy down there. So
absolutely. And look, to convert any office tower into a residential tower, I would have thought structurally it's not that hard to do. You're adding bathrooms and toilets and off you go. Bedrooms, living rooms, and windows are all there, ready to partition off. Lift wells, all that stuff. But I think, how do you get those people in and out of the building? Yeah. You know what? I think it's probably spread a bit easier, because they're not going in and out all at the same time like they are for a lunchtime for an office tower. So there's probably more than enough lifts.
Yeah, 8:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5:30, key times where everyone's using them.
Yep. And then in a residential, it's not as much. So it's probably spread around a lot more.
Yep.
Cool.
Anyway, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting world, guys. That's what's happening with property today. That's what we're seeing. And it's officially a recession, and welcome recession.
250, we'll close it out with this morning.
Quarter of a million lives. What do we talk about all the time?
I don't know. You guys are just you got to get to the gap. That's the thing, isn't it? All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take care. See you, everyone. Love ya.
See ya.
Bye.